Yes, and welcome to the Horror Comedy Hangout podcast. We have another episode coming to you. My name is Chris, the independent filmmaker.
I'm Jessica, not the independent filmmaker.
Yeah, that's right.
I think we all know that by now.
Yes, I think. But we'll just keep saying that. Please stay tuned. We have a great episode for you. We are counting down the top indie horror films of 2024. I know we are a little late on that, but stay tuned because it kind of goes along with an award show coming up very shortly. So stay tuned for that. All right, and welcome back. We're glad to have you here. Sorry it's been so long since we've been here, but I got a little sick.
More than sick.
Yeah, more than sick for like a couple weeks there, and I was just down and out, and
it was bad.
It was bad, and I was not able to. We were not able to put the podcast together.
No.
A lot of times we do record these way in advance, but we didn't have anything coming down the pike already filmed. So
no, and then the flu got you. So.
And then the flu got me. So, and I still have the cough. So hopefully I won't be coughing tonight at all. But like I said, we have the countdown of the top 24. It is a little late. It is the end of February coming into March. But in the beginning of March, we have the little show coming up called the Oscars. And we're going to talk a little bit about one of the films coming up that may or may not be in the Oscars. So please stay tuned for that as well, all the way towards the end. This first one that we have is...
We've talked about before.
We've done a review on this. This is an honorable mention. Mm-hmm. So what do we have for our first one?
So our first one that we're going to be honorably mentioning, like Chris said, is Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Don't say it 3 times.
I was about to say that. I'm like, do not say his name 3 times or he's going to appear. Maybe we
pop up out of the...
Maybe we want him to appear.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe we do. So yes, Beetlejuice. It's not easy to say, right?
No, it's a tongue twister.
It is a tongue twister. We did review this one. It is an honorable mention. Mm-hmm. The title does say indie film, and this is not an indie film. This is more of a big budget film. But I just wanted to put this one on the list as an honorable mention because we did have a lot of fun with this film, right?
We did. We actually went and saw it in the theater.
We did.
And it was such a packed theater. We ended up getting down in the front, which was horrible, but at least we got to see it. And
we had fun. So
we had a great time.
This is a sequel, right?
Yeah.
To the original back in 1988.
Which was a great year because I was born.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You could have been more cheerful on that one, but sure, we'll go with it.
Yay, 1988. Ooh, yes.
Okay.
So this story picks up with the Dietz family. Some of the family members are returning for a tragedy, a funeral.
Yeah.
Right? So they're all coming back to the Dietz home.
Where it
all began for the funeral. And that's where Beetlejuice has not given up his hope.
No, or his lost love of Lydia Dietz.
He is not.
He's determined in this movie. Let's just say that.
Yeah, so this film brings back Tim Burton as the director. It has Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice, Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara, and it brings...
Jenna Ortega.
And yeah, as I was about to say, it brings in somebody new.
Oh.
Jenna Ortega, which...
Spoiled that.
I know. Well. So it brings in Jenna Ortega, part of the Dietz family, right?
Oh, yeah. And Justin Theroux's in it too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He plays Lydia Dietz, like fiance boyfriend.
Yeah, which he's a little cuckoo. Mm-hmm. Yes. So get to the nitty gritty of this film because we don't want to spend too much time on each film. We enjoyed this film, right?
We did. It's definitely a must watch.
It is a must watch. I want to say I enjoyed it because I was a Beetlejuice fan, but I feel like with these nostalgic films, that's where they go off the rails sometimes, and then people start complaining because they're so used to the original and then a lot of these filmmakers bring in nostalgia bait. They just, they have the same lines sometimes from the original films and other things like that. But this one, I still enjoyed the film. I still enjoyed Michael Keaton still has it as Beetlejuice. I still enjoyed having the practical effects that Tim Burton's used to, the costuming that I'm used to with Tim Burton and everything like that. And the performances were there. The one thing, the biggest critique we have from this film was there was a lot of storylines.
Too many.
Too many storylines. Yeah. Tim Burton just went too crazy with a lot of different storylines, and a lot of these storylines didn't go anywhere. And a lot of these storylines you could take out of the film,
and it would have held.
And it would have held just as fine without them. So that is that's the one critique. So when you go into watching this film, just remember that he just put too many storylines in there, and they just kind of go nowhere, and they end, and it's just like, you didn't finish that anything. And I'm like,
you kind of like crave more out of the storylines, and then when they just get cut off, you're like, okay, what was out there in the first place? And I want to mention one little thing too, because I think it was such a little nice tribute at the very beginning of the film. Hopefully y'all catch it. Is there was a nice tribute to the passing of the amazing Jimmy Buffett. So be on the lookout for that little Easter egg that was thrown in there. So it was at the beginning of the film, but I won't tell you what it is. So.
Yes. So that is Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. If you have not seen that, we do recommend seeing that. Obviously, it's not in the theater anymore, but just go rent it on streaming.
Yeah. All right. So kicking it off finally at our number 10 spot. Oh, no.
We forgot something.
We did.
Yes. We haven't done that in the last
so long.
We haven't done this in the last couple episodes.
No,
I kind of got away from it because I'm like, I didn't want to push this too much, but it's been one of those weeks, so I feel like we needed
a little bit of a little drink.
Only really Wednesday, but yeah,
close enough to Friday.
So
cheers
to the top 2024 indie horror films. Please grab a drink. It can be non-alcoholic or alcoholic, whatever you prefer. And just sit back and relax and watch or listen to our top 10 plus one, which makes it.
You said our very soothing voices.
Listen to our very soothing.
All righty.
They sound really good they sound good on the headphones.
They do sound good.
I think they sound good.
All right, we're gonna move on to top 10.
All right. So really, we got to get into the top 10 because this is top 10. We're just hitting the top 10 now. So what is the top 10?
It is Maxine.
Maxine.
She is coming in at number 10. So this is a trilogy. This was the last one, right?
This was the last one, but spoiler alert.
Oh.
I have read possibility
that's a big word.
I know, right? These hard words. That there might be a fourth one. But yes, this is the trilogy off of X and then Pearl. These films come from a indie horror filmmaker called Ty West. This has been his trilogy that started back in a few years ago with X. This one is this one still stars Mia Goth. She navigates the challenges of a 1980s Hollywood in pursuit of fame, all while being targeted by a mysterious killer. Ooh, I know, right? Yeah. So it's set in that 80s nostalgic era that I love. I love everything from the 80s.
See, 80s was great.
80s was great. So Maxine picks up 6 years after X, and Maxine has survived horrific events on the farm, and now she's an adult film star striving to transition into mainstream cinema.
Yeah, so which I love the opening scene of because she just basically owns that audition and walks out and basically tells every girl like, y'all pack it up and go home. I got the part. I just love it because she's such a boss in this movie.
She is, and it's that following that film of that person that wants to be a star. You're following that. They'll do anything to become that movie star, and obviously she's in the adult film star.
So she's already famous. It's just a different type of fame.
At this, yeah. I mean, you initially follow it through the other ones where she wants to become a film star, and then this one she is a film star at this point. It's just that gritty, almost grindhouse film to me, maybe in a way.
Yeah.
So that's why I really like this. And once again, I want to call out these indie horror filmmakers that are just low budget, bringing it, great story, great actress on there, and just actually, and Jenna Ortega was in X.
Oh, was
So
she?
there's a connection to Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice,
I
yeah.
didn't really see the other two.
No. I know you saw this one.
I really liked this one, but he kind of filled me in on the backstory. So I was like, okay, I got where we're going with this. But I really enjoyed it, not even seeing the other two with just a little bit of details that Chris gave me. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it really dives into the 1980s Hollywood scene and just trying to be, famous.
Yeah,
So
it was good.
I think a lot of us resonate with that. I mean, I know I do because I'm just wanting to be in the film business, not in the adult film business, but in
I was like,
the film business. Yeah. So I kind of resonate with those stories of people just, trying to make it and going all out, not murdering people and becoming adult film
I was going to
stars.
say, we're going down a rabbit hole with you here.
But you know what, no. So that's our top 10. Yes. So we're going to move on from that one. So please go out and check that. That's obviously not in the theaters anymore either, but it's on streaming. But make sure that you go back and see X and Pearl because those are just as good as as Maxine, the third one. And like I did say, there is a possibility of a fourth one. There's some chatter about that. So hopefully see it. I really like what Ty West has been doing, and I just, applaud him as an indie filmmaker getting it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
All right. And coming in at number 9, who do we have for number 9?
We have Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah.
Ooh. Now, this one for me, I don't know how I feel about this one.
Right.
Yeah. I liked it and I more didn't like it. It was I think for me, what I liked it on was as a cool concept of being done on a late night show.
Yeah, I think that was a great concept.
Yeah.
I like the concept.
Yeah.
This was written and directed and edited by Australian filmmakers Colin and Cameron Carnes.
Yeah.
This film, I have IMDb pulled up. Easy for
words are hard.
Easy for me to say. And this is going to get even worse because this guy, I really like this guy. He's been in so many things and he's such a great actor. But his name, David Dasham.
Yeah, we're going to totally butcher it.
Yeah,
sorry.
Dashmal. I mean, it's just such a long name, so I'm sorry. I know you're out there watching. So
if you are, we do apologize.
He is watching.
We butchered your last name.
Yeah, he loves the show. He's subscribed. He plays Jack Delroy, a 1970s late night talk show host,
and he's amazing at it.
Yeah,
it's so good.
He's
so good at it.
Everything that he does is really good. So that's what drew me to this film. So he's a late night talk show host who, in a bid to boost his show ratings, airs a live Halloween special, which we love Halloween.
Oh, we do.
Featuring a paranormal guest. The broadcast takes a terrifying turn as the supernatural events unfold on air, that's what's crazy about this thing is you're watching it through his lens, like through the camera's lens, that everything is going wrong
completely
on the show. And I'm like, I know it because we do a show. And I'm like, could you imagine just everything going wrong live on air? And actually, we did a live show and everything did go wrong.
Yeah,
so I do feel like that. I don't know if it was the devil that was in it or not, but
no.
Yeah.
I think it was just Beetlejuice and Lydia D.
Maybe it was Beetlejuice. Yeah. So, I mean, this centers on Jack Delroy's live broadcasts. And he brings on a possessed girl. So as the show progresses, unsettling and inexplicable occurrences start to escalate, leading to a nightmarish descent into chaos. So it starts out where she starts acting a little weird, and then she gets a little more weird and more weird, and she just starts going off the rails until the whole set and everybody's just running around in complete chaos.
Yeah, and it's interesting how I started watching this film because I didn't want any part of watching it, and you just put it on, and then I just kind of got sucked in, and then once you're sucked in, you're like, well, wait, I got to know more, and then I'm like, oh,
yeah, that's how I usually get you with a film. I just put it on, and I'm like. She'll catch on to this. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, this one was, again, I liked the concept of it, but I was not completely sold on it.
Yeah, you didn't like it as much as I did. I just, the thing with a lot of these films that we're talking about tonight and this one is the problem. A lot of problem is with a lot of films and a lot of big blockbuster films is there's a lot of been done before.
Oh,
and,
yeah. So much of it.
It's just.
I don't know if this one's really been done before though.
That's what I'm getting at is like I appreciate that
It's different.
it's different,
Mhm.
and I appreciate somebody that writes something different and goes out there. And that's the problem with a lot. And that's the thing is like these are indie films,
Yeah.
and these big studio films don't want that. They want big IP that's already been out there. Marvel. They want
Things that have been done a million
they want
times.
things that have been done a million times. So when you do like a Maxine or you do like a Late Night with the Devil, they're so different, and you're just putting yourself out there to make these films, and that's what I like. That's why I'm trying to celebrate all these different films that have just put themselves out there, and they're not mainstream films, and
Yeah.
that's what I really enjoy about this. And I'm like, I know sometimes you're like, well, this is kind of weird and off the rails, and I'm like, that's what I want because it hasn't been done before,
Yeah, which is nice to watch a film that hasn't been done before.
right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing with that is like, it's so hard to get a film made, and then to get
Yeah.
a film made that's
A
just
different concept.
different concept is just
But I will say with this one too that I really liked about it was the fact that it was so authentically 70s. Like the set was very 70s looking and there wasn't a lot to the set, but it was just enough to give you that vibe and the clothing. I mean, it was spot on. But
and that's what I was gonna say. Like the
yeah.
period,
It's-
it's a very period piece, and it is uh, done very well. And that's what I always try to do when I do my films is always try to
authenticate it as much as
make sure that it's authentic and make sure that you are putting in the production design just as much as you're putting into like bringing the talent on and making sure the script's good.
That's
And
why you got me.
yeah, absolutely, to do all that. So I mean, and this is that found footage horror film set in that late night 1970s. So if you're like found footage films, this is something that you should check into.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is not in the theater anymore either, but go see it on streaming and check it out because I don't think you'll be disappointed.
No, I don't think you will either. It's definitely a must watch, but
Yeah,
just
and
keep an open mind.
absolutely. All right, so moving on to number 8. What do we have for number 8?
Number 8 is one of my favorites on the list. It is Lisa Frankenstein. So we have
Yes.
definitely reviewed this one in more detail.
Yeah, so please go check that out if on our sites. We have a full review of Lisa Frankenstein. So this is going to be a very snippet of the full review. This is another indie film. Again, this is actually not again, but this is a horror comedy.
It is a horror comedy, and this is Robin Williams' daughter's first film. Who's her
name? What's your name?
Oh, crud. Don't do that to me. Point it out. Zelda. Thank you.
There you go.
Oh, Zelda Williams. That is her name. It escaped my brain. Sorry. But yeah, this is her first film. And I want to say this is actually one of my favorites again on this list. She did such a great job with this. The actors were amazing.
And who are the actors?
Cole Sprouse was in it. And Catherine Newton, who is in a lot of horror comedies. She's also in it. Liza.
Just go. I love Carla Gugino.
Oh, and Carla Gugino.
Yeah,
that's the other big name.
She's the other big name. She's been in a lot of films.
Yeah,
and she played the mother.
Oh, she was.
And
so
she
good.
just played the jerk mother, and I was just like, she's just like she fit right into that role, which doesn't seem like that's natural for her, but she did a really great job in that.
She did.
And who wrote this film?
Why are you quizzing me?
I don't know. I just asking everybody out there who wrote this film.
Thank gosh you took notes for me.
Yes. You know who wrote this film? Diablo Cody.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. And Diablo Cody's been around for a little while because she wrote Jennifer's Body, which had become a cult classic. She also wrote Juno, which has nothing to do with horror. I've watched it, read the screenplay. Really great writer. It's maybe it's not interesting. She went to another because this is. I mean, Jennifer's Body is a horror comedy-ish, so she just went back to kind of going back to another horror comedy. It is super cute. It's and this one's about
it's a love story.
Yeah, Catherine Newton plays Lisa Swallow. She is a high school kid that's a little odd.
She's a little misfit.
Her
mother recently passed, so you kind of pick up on the cues in the movie in the beginning and kind of all the way to the end. And
Yeah, this is a girl who reanimates a Victorian era corpse.
Yeah.
He's portrayed by
Cole Sprouse.
Cole Sprouse.
And he has like 0 lines in this movie,
And that's the other thing too. And
which is amazing.
I do appreciate that because when you get into acting as an actor, I always feel like you're like, well, how many lines do I have? And what lines do I have? You get a script and you're like, okay, well, how many lines do I have? And if you give him the script, he's gonna be like, how many lines do I have? And I'm like, you have no lines.
You have sounds.
You have sounds and grunts and facial expressions.
Body
And
movements.
once you get more into acting, you realize, okay, it's not about the lines, it's about the performance. And he does a really great job.
He nails it.
Yeah. He really does. It's a really funny but endearing performance that he puts on with this one.
Yeah. This is definitely a movie everybody's got to check out because it is super cute and it's interesting because she likes to hang out in the graveyards and she's a total misfit.
Well, that's where she meets him, is in the graveyard.
Well, because he's dead.
Right.
But we can't give away how he comes to life.
No. We won't give away. But it's a romantic horror comedy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
An unconventional.
Very
romantic horror comedy.
And as you go along in the film, you figure out why it's a little unconventional, but it's good. Definitely worth it.
Yeah, it blends again back to that 1980s.
See?
Yeah, I just want to live in the 1980s again.
No. Let's not go back. I was born, and we're moving forward.
Okay. I mean, I like to live in the 1980s. It's just that very nostalgic 1980s. No, I know. But it has that horror and comedy elements combined together. I think they do a really good job. This again, I think when we did the review, this again is one of those gateway horror films. Yeah. It's not very bloody. It's not very violent. There's more comedy than horror, but it does fit both genres. And I think Zelda Williams does a really nice job of blending both together. Very vibrant colors, very vibrant costumes.
And I feel like it's kind of a relatable film too, especially for teenage girls in high school. No? Okay.
Well, I'm not a teenage girl in high school, so I'm just go ahead. Tell me how you how's that?
I know, it's like you're kind of the misfit. Your stepsister's the fun, preppy one who's really popular, dating the hot guy.
Right.
And you're still trying to figure out where you fit in the world.
Well, I guess it's very typical.
Oh, man, you're killing me tonight.
I'm just saying. Is it very typical?
Well, it's not typical to go around and start killing people, but it's typical of like.
Well, she reanimated. She didn't really kill anybody.
We'll edit all that out.
No. This is good. This is staying in.
Never mind.
She didn't kill anybody. She reanimated people.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Anyway.
Lisa Frankenstein. Go see it. Rent it. I don't think you'll be disappointed in that one either.
I don't think you will either.
If you like horror comedy and gateway horror comedy. All right. And welcome to number 7.
Yeah.
You had to count them out. Number 7. What is number 7?
Number 7 is Your Monster.
Your Monster.
Rude.
Yay, Your Monster.
Yay, our monster.
And this is another one we reviewed.
Yeah.
In full.
In full.
So if you need to full review this.
And you can really hear my thoughts and opinions on this film.
Yeah, go check it out.
Because I have them.
So again, this is another indie film. Again, we're celebrating that indie film. We're celebrating that horror comedy and then horror comedy romance, right? This is a romantic horror
we're
comedy.
back on romance now?
Yeah. This was written and directed by Caroline Lindy. It was based on her short film in 2019, which is super cool because as a filmmaker, making short films and then seeing the short film go into a full-length feature, and getting name talent attached to it. It's just
big name talent.
It's very impressive, and that's why I want to celebrate those indie filmmakers because, she did it as a short film and she was able to make it into a full-length feature. Yeah. So this stars Marissa Barrera,
which y'all might know her from Scream.
Yep, Scream. Soft-spoken actress who, after life falls apart, finds her voice again, and she meets a terrifying yet charming monster living in her apartment, played by Tommy Dewey, which is again another great character. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would definitely say they're both great characters. I wasn't a fan of this movie, though. I'm just going to put it out there.
No, I don't feel like going anymore.
All right, I'll keep going.
So she's the main character is diagnosed
Cancer.
with
Yeah.
I think it was cancer,
I think
right?
it was they didn't really say.
No,
I think it
they
was
just
just
say we just assumed.
We just assumed.
We just want to assume it's cancer.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend leaves her,
Totally dumps her.
totally dumps her, and that's how the film starts in the hospital. He's
Poor
like,
girl.
"See you later. I'm out."
Bye.
So I'm like, "That's not good. This is not starting off good." This monster comes along that lives in her closet. That's been there
Her whole life.
her whole life, living in the closet and been behind the scenes with her. And it's just this unexpected journey that Laura meets of self-discovery, blending elements of that horror comedy and romance in. And I really think it really delves into that your inner monster that you have. Everybody has that inner monster, and you're always fighting against that inner monster.
This movie, I like the concept. Again, another cool concept. It hasn't really been done before. But the thing I just couldn't get over, and I still can't get over to this day, and I know you're going to roll your eyes at me, is I couldn't get over the clothing choices for her in this movie. They were just awful. I couldn't tell if we were in modern era. Did it even say what time of period this was?
I think it was current day.
Ugh, you wouldn't have even known. That's the thing. Like, that's where I was confused, I think, is I got so hyper-focused.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
This is a struggle for us, I feel like.
Well, between the two of us, yes. Because it's deeper than that. It's
deeper than the clothes, I know.
It's deeper than the clothes. She did not like the clothing choice. So, fire the person who did the wardrobe person. But, Melissa Barrera's character was very eclectic. She was a theater person. I felt like they dressed her in that eclectic kind of feeling.
They could have done Bella better and eclectic.
Okay. Well, I mean, that was the thing. I feel like
you wear what you want, but
I just feel like it was a great metaphor, because this is what the writer-director went through. It was a metaphor of her internal struggles. So and this is how she portrayed it. And I think as a writer, and a director and all that stuff is like, that's how you're trying to get out your issues that are going on. And this is what they came across as you're always fighting that inner monster. Everybody has it, and you're trying to push it down. And in this movie, she lets it out, and it becomes a live creature that she has to deal with.
Yeah, she's gonna face it.
She has to face it after
years
heartbreak and all that despair. She it kind of lifts her up in a way and gives her a new life.
It gives her new purpose, I feel like.
Yeah, even though he's not there, it's really just it's her inner monster.
Literally
her inner monster
ends up combusting in the end.
It does. We won't say the end. It's a crazy little ending, which I was not expecting it to go that way. And I think when I write things like that, excuse me, I think when I write things like that, I'm like, that's not what I was thinking, where I was going to go with the ending of that.
No.
But she went there with that, and maybe it was just that's where it needed to go, or that's what she was thinking it needed to go, or that was what she needed to do to close that chapter of her life.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a shocker at the end. We were both kind of like, oh.
You have to understand, like, these films, especially these indie films, they're very personal, and they're very personal to that writer-director. And it's that journey to get over what she was going through at the time. And if you make a lot of money at it,
yeah, good. More power to you.
More power to you. That's what I'm saying. I liked it. And if you want to dive deep into, that kind of thing, then if not, if you don't like weird clothing, then don't watch it.
You're making me sound so horrible. Making myself sound horrible.
No. It's fine.
Sorry, I'm a big fashionista. I say that in the actual long version, but
it's fine.
Gosh, I can't get over the clothes.
It's fine. Sorry, Caroline Lindy.
Sorry.
The wardrobe person you pick, she hates.
Yeah. Hate is a strong word. I
She
just
dislikes.
don't like.
All right. So we're going to move on to number 6. And number 6.
Yep. All you.
All me, I guess. All me.
All you.
This is Terrifier 3.
Absolutely
Terrifier
not.
3. Yes. So as you see, it's Terrifier 3. So that means there's Terrifier 2, Terrifier 1. There's stuff before that and stuff before that.
What?
So yeah, it goes way back to what, 2012 or 2010. Again, we're celebrating indie horror filmmakers. I want to celebrate.
I'm not celebrating this one.
You're not celebrating. You didn't see it. She didn't see it.
I have a limit of guts and horror and blood, and that's my cutoff right there.
Yeah. Disclaimer on this one, Terrifier 3, you have to be 100% horror person. Over the top, blood and guts. You have to be. Even this one pushes the limit for me a little bit, but I want to celebrate Damien Leone. He is the writer, director, creator of Terrifier. It's taken off like you wouldn't believe. This thing is through the roof,
which is crazy.
He created this character named Art the Clown. He created this character.
Which is creepy.
Oh, a while ago. Yes, this character started back. I think it was 2012. It wasn't even Terrifier before that. It was in some other films, and he kept it going into Terrifier 1, 2, and 3. And it's Art the Clown, like David. What'd you say, David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown? Which I was saying before. I was like, I got to meet him. Super nice guy. That's what's so funny. It's like he's there. Yeah, I've met him before. Oh. Super nice guy. That's what's so funny. Why like all these people that play these crazy serial killers, super nice guys. So this is pretty much just a sadistic killer that embarks on a spree. This one takes place during the holidays, during Christmas time. There's a little through line with some kids that have grown up throughout this series. But the main thing with this is Damien Leone, sorry. He was a special effects makeup person that wanted to move on and become a director and a writer. And that's where he came in with Art the Clown.
Oh, he's doing great.
And he's doing great, yeah, because Terrifier 3, I have some statistics here, achieved remarkable success, grossing over 50 million worldwide before Halloween.
That's crazy.
It secured the #1 spot in the box office with a domestic gross of 18.9 million, reflecting that strong performance. And I didn't check the statistics, and I've looked at this before, but I think he did it for 1-2 million, maybe. To gross that much is amazing. And this is like pure slasher. You go back to like 1980s slasher kind of films, and it's like tenfold. Because back then they didn't allow a lot of graphics. You know, like you look at Halloween. Halloween has hardly any blood in it, and it's still freaky. And it's one of my favorites.
What about
Slasher.
Texas Chainsaw?
Texas Chainsaw has a lot more.
I've seen that.
Blood and guts in it, but this one has even more blood and guts. It's beyond. It just goes right into it from the beginning, and he's not afraid to go and cross the line on a lot of things.
Yeah, because didn't you say people walked out of the theater in this movie?
There have been reports of people that did walk out of the theater with it, and I can see that happening. You know, if you're going into it not thinking that it's that gory. And it takes a special person. I just want to celebrate Damien Leone as a filmmaker to stick with this since the 2010s. And now we're in 2025 and we're going on to Terrifier 4.
Nope, you're on your own still.
No. And it's perfectly fine. This is 100% complete opposite of what we've been talking about this evening at all. I'm just celebrating that indie horror filmmaker, and if you like pure horror, guts and blood, and seeing it all, and not the camera pulling away from everything, then this is a film for you. And there is obviously a huge market for that because it's done so well. I went to the theater and paid the money because I want to support his filmmaking. It's become so crazy these days with the studios and how big they become and how powerful they become and how they look down on everybody else, and they're all just a money making machine. And this person, just like the person for Your Monster and the person for Lisa Frankenstein, they're making it for the love of making
filmmaking
of the film. Yeah, it's great to make money and everybody wants to make money.
But you forget why you're doing it.
We're not talking about studio level executives that are just, the gap between studio level executive and everybody below is just increased. So that's why we're here today, to just talk about those people.
Yeah.
So, all right. And we're moving on to number 5. We're getting closer to that top number 1, aren't we?
Yeah.
No, she's not going to. You know why she said that? Because this is another one that she didn't see. She didn't see this one.
I will say, this next one, I have seen every single other one up until this one.
She has.
And I wasn't feeling this one. So I wasn't going to go bother.
So, number 5 is Alien Romulus. And you're going to go,
this isn't.
Chris, what the hell are you talking about? Because this is not an indie film. And you're 100% right. This is not. This is a big budget. This is a bigger budget film. I put this in here because I enjoyed this last year. I went to the theater twice, and you guys can hate me because I know there's a lot of critics out there.
He did.
You guys can hate me out there, but I was there. I was alive when the first one came out. So all you guys are hating that weren't alive during the first Alien. Yeah, whatever. I'm just putting this one in here because I really enjoyed it. And I think that's what this list is. It's celebrating indie filmmakers, and it's just celebrating films of 2024, horror films of 2024, horror comedies of 2024 that we enjoyed. And I enjoyed this one because, like I said, I went to the movie.
Went to it twice.
I went to see it twice.
And when we did Origins, didn't you talk to the guy? Or we saw him?
We didn't go to Origins. We went to Spooky.
Spooky Empire, not Origins.
Yeah, we went to Spooky, and the guy who played one of the aliens was at Spooky. Yeah, we didn't get to talk to him, but he was there. Young guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Tall. Ooh.
Very tall, which makes sense because these aliens are crazy. All right, so Aliens. This one, Aliens Romulus. This obviously came out in 2024. This was directed by Fede Alvarez. And Fede Alvarez has been around for a while. He's directed a couple other horror movies, very popular horror movies recently. So he's been in that horror movie genre space. This one takes place between Alien, the original, in 1979, and Aliens, 1986. So it takes place between those two films there. And it follows a group of space colonists that encounter a deadly xenomorphs while scavenging a derelict space station. So they're on this space. They're on the colony on this planet. It's very dark. It's very dank. They're labor workers. They're young. They're trying to get off the planet. The main girl, played by Kaylee Spaney. Yeah, that's how she's been around for a little bit here. She's done some other stuff. She goes to try to get off the planet, and she's denied access. They're like, well, you gotta stay here for another 4 or 5 years.
Oh, that's terrible.
Right?
And then you get attacked by an alien.
No.
No? Oh, darn. Okay.
So she has her brother, which is not really a brother. He's like I can't think of the name.
AI?
Like an AI kind of guy, but he looks like a human. And then she has these group of friends that she's with, and they get this plan that they're going to go get this plutonium from this derelict spaceship up in space so they can blast off to get away from the whole planet, not the alien yet. So they go to this spaceship. The spaceship is where the aliens are, and they run into a lot of aliens. They run into a lot of face huggers kind of thing, the xenomorph. Everything goes crazy. Her brother AI guy changes his directive what he needs, and he kind of turns on them a little bit. So everything kind of goes off the chain when they encounter the xenomorphs. Android, that's what I was trying to say. Android.
Oh.
Yeah, her android stepbrother. All right. So this was produced by Ridley Scott, which was the original of Alien. So it was blessed by him. You know, the effects of the Alien Romulus was top notch. They used a lot of practical effects. That's why we saw that guy,
Mm-hmm.
you know, at Spooky Empire, because he was playing he was an actual suit playing a xenomorph. You know, we've gotten into a lot of CGI films and a lot of CGI aliens, and that was nice to see. And I always appreciate them going back to, practical effects.
Yeah.
There is just something about a real thing in front of you. I think the characters were fun to watch. Some of the dialogue was okay. There are complaints, going back to what I was saying earlier at the top of the show about when we were talking about Beetlejuice, that nostalgia bait, when there's a line in there that they've used in the original Aliens. People complain about that. That kind of goes over my head, because I'm just there to have a good time and enjoy a movie. And if you're going to say a line from a past movie, you're going to say a line from a past movie. I think people forget when they criticize these movies is it's the same thing with like J.J. Abrams when he did Force Awakens, the next movie after, when the franchise came back out, Star Wars franchise came back out again. And then with Fede Alvarez with Aliens, these people are fans, just like all the people that are watching the movie. They're just the fan that's making the movie. So I think people forget that they, are fans of the movie, and then they just complain because they're putting so much nostalgic stuff in there. But that's what, maybe these people are younger and they're not the same age or something. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I just feel like that nostalgia is fine, because for the most part, because that's what we want. I think we should give a little leeway to those directors and writers that are doing this. But the ending's a little weird for me, and that's been a complaint of everybody else. But I think overall it was a decent film, and obviously it's not in the theater anymore. But go see that. It's on Hulu actually. So if you got Hulu,
Go check it out.
go check it out. All right, and number 4, we're moving on to number 4.
Yay! You want me to say it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So number 4 is Long Legs. Like the spider.
Spider Longlegs, yes. Longlegs is written and directed by Osgood Perkins.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Osgood Perkins?
I don't.
Not personally, huh?
No,
well,
not
he's
personally.
the son of Anthony Perkins, the famous Anthony Perkins. So this film stars Michaela Monroe as an FBI agent, Lee Harker. She's a new recruit signed to an unsolved case of an elusive serial killer portrayed by none other
than Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Which he's amazing in this movie.
Yes. And this is why I brought this one in. Again, another smaller film. Osgood Perkins has been around a while. He just did The Monkey that just came out. Was it The Monkey?
Yeah.
Yep, that just came out recently, and he's done some other stuff. But again, a smaller movie, more indie feel to it. So this is about a young FBI agent played by Michaela Monroe, who is sent to hunt and track down a terrifying serial killer known as Longlegs. That's played by, like we said, Nicolas Cage. Her search leads to incredibly unsettling truths that are tried to occult in extremely creepy ways. A lot of people are on the fence with this one, but I liked it. This scene, from the beginning, the first scene really captured me. And again, when I'm writing something, I'm trying to write a scene to draw somebody in, and the creepiness of who we think might be Nicolas Cage and a young girl having a conversation, and you don't see above Nicolas Cage's or the person's nose, is just creepy. And when he talks to the little girl is just the creepiest thing ever. And Nicolas Cage brings it in this film. Sometimes he goes over the top. He's an actor that's known to go over the top with his performances. But I feel like with this one, he dials it in, and he goes over the top, but he's grounded in this performance. And he's not
one of his best.
Yes. And he's not in it a lot. And that's funny when there's those people that are not in films a lot, but you're like, they just are the ones that are the people are talking about. He just gives that extremely chilling performance. He's unhinged. Oz Perkins builds that tension, like I said, right from that first scene all the way through. Even the next scene with the FBI agent and her partner, it goes off the rails really fast. And I was like, oh,
Oh.
okay, this is they keep that level of intensity up there.
Which is great for grabbing an audience because that's one of my biggest things. If you gotta grab and hold my attention, or I'm done.
And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, people. A lot of films rely on a lot of jump scares, a lot of crazy stuff, but this one has no jump scares. It's just brilliantly executed with the mood and the tensions combined, a seriously troubling subject matter. That's what really gets you there. Is it's just very troubling. There's no jump scares, and it draws you in from the beginning. Serial
Popular.
killers are hugely popular,
Mhm.
and Nicolas Cage gives that really unsettling portrayal, and his mannerisms, his voice, his
Yeah, you wouldn't even know it's him.
behavior. You don't recognize him. It's just a nightmare of nightmarish proportions that you can only imagine. And it's just freaky. Like
He nails it.
it's one of the creepiest people I've seen. The story isn't bad. It's a typical kind of story, and the ending is, I kind of, you build it up,
Mhm.
and then it just kind of
Drops.
drops off the
Yeah,
end.
that's what stinks.
And that kind of stinks because usually it's the second act that usually falls flat in a
Then the third act just picks it right back
and
up.
yeah, usually you lose people in the second act, but you kind of lost me in the third act, and that is the complaint. And we can't discount Monroe's performance as well. She really gives a chilling performance as well throughout this film as well. I think she's a great actress. Go check out Long Legs. All right, so we're moving on to number 3. What is number 3?
Number 3 is Heretic. Woo woo! We're almost
Heretic.
there.
I know. For jumping and joy for Heretic. I mean, it's
But this
not a
movie,
jump for joy
when did we
movie,
see
but
this movie? On Netflix? Because it's only on streaming, right?
it was on streaming. I don't remember if it was in the theater or
theaters. I
not.
don't think so.
I don't remember if it was or not. This is written directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods.
Mhm.
This stars Hugh Grant. Yes, the incomparable
Yeah.
Hugh Grant, Sophie Thatcher, and Chloe East. And it delves into those themes of faith, manipulation, and survival.
Yeah. I definitely really enjoyed this movie. This was one of those where Chris put it on. I wasn't planning on watching it, and then I got sucked in and hooked. Hugh Grant, I've never seen him play such a serious person or serious character in a movie until this one. And I was like, oh, there is a whole another side of him in acting. And it was like I don't know, it was crazy. It was good. It was like so
Yeah, he
convincing.
definitely stepped out of his comfort zone because
Yeah.
Hugh Grant is a romantic comedy kind of guy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite films is Love Actually, which is a great Christmas film,
We watch every Christmas.
which we do, and it's not a horror.
It's not horror.
It is comedy, but it's not horror comedy or horror. But that's his wheelhouse, and that's always been his wheelhouse. And it's interesting to watch these actors grow and develop.
Mhm.
And he definitely did in this film, and brought a whole nother.
Yep.
He can play creepy. Let's just say he can play creepy.
And he can play convincing creepy. But it's definitely interesting because it takes two young girls who are very naive and very into the Lord, and they're out knocking on doors and talking about the Lord. And he knows scripture like verbatim. And that's basically his hook, line, and sinker to get them in the door. And then everything just escalates from there. And these girls had no clue what they were.
Yeah. These are two young Mormon missionaries.
Oh, they're Mormon. Okay, that's right.
Yeah. And they go out to the secluded home of
Mhm.
Mr. Reed, which is played by Hugh Grant, and tend to share their faith.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he sucks them in. All right. And it's basically like he's got this whole, it's almost like a mousetrap
mhm.
of a movie because he's got all these traps and tricks and mazes, and it kind of like almost tests like particularly one girl's faith, and it kind of really sees her evolve into this
Yeah.
whole other person in a way. And I think it's almost like you're shocked because you don't realize, what you're going to become to
Yeah,
survive.
it's a creepy thing to think
Whew.
about that when you go to a door and you're like, hey, and then you get invited in,
Mm-mm.
and that's where that atmosphere shifts,
Completely.
with Mr. Reed's curious questions becoming unsettling. And he that shifts as soon as they get into the living room and they sit down and they start talking. It becomes a weird. He just becomes. He shifts. He just has
Weirdly apparent that he's, yeah.
yeah, and then he's like, they're like, well, we don't want to talk until
Your
the
wife
wife
comes
is
in.
there, and he's like, oh yeah, she's in the back and she's cooking. Do you want something? And then they're showing, the candle burning of blueberry pie because he keeps saying he's making blueberry
Blueberry
pie,
pie.
in the back, and then she's just ends up, spoiler alert, never there, and he starts challenging
Them.
them
Hmm.
on
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 certain scripture, certain topics of the Bible. And it's all in like a riddle for them to figure out. And it's also like survival of the fittest in this movie. It's insane. But it's definitely worth checking out and seeing because it doesn't dive too much into preaching at you. It's just making you think.
No, but he does dive into that, that one true religion. He's like, what's that
Mm-hmm.
one true
Mm-hmm.
religion? So it does have a lot of religious undertones. So,
It does.
you know, if that bothers you, that's not something that you probably
Yeah, it
want.
might not be the movie for you.
Might not be the movie for you. But for me, again, another different story
Mm-hmm.
that haven't seen before, you
Mm-hmm.
know, about religion, because obviously there's been a million movies about, religion and faith and all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. But this one takes a complete
Sinister
turn. And the thing with this one is that what I was skeptical at first is like, it's like, okay, there's these three people and they're sitting in a room and they're going to talk. And I'm like, how are you going to keep
Mhm.
the tension up? As a writer and a filmmaker, I'm always like, oh, how do I keep the tension up? But the banter back and forth is really good. And then he lures them in further. It's just like, it's almost like a stepping stone into, okay, you're in the door, you're in the living room, you're further into the house, you're further and further and further until you've gone too far
Far.
and you've overstepped. And now you can't go back the other way. You have to go this way to survive. And that's what it comes down to, this film. And comes from A24, which is a indie, a smaller production company. So again, celebrating those smaller production companies.
Go.
Again, on streaming, please go check it out. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you liked what we talked about with this one as well. So I think you'll enjoy that. And if you are a Hugh Grant fan and you want to see him in a different light,
This is definitely the
this
film.
is definitely the film for that.
Mhm.
Number two,
We're getting there.
we're getting there.
Do you
What
want
is
to?
number?
Oh, you want me to introduce this one again?
Yep.
All right. So number 2 is another one of my big favorites on here. It is Strange Darling.
We can put our arms up for that one. Yay.
Woo!
Strange
So,
Darling.
this one was amazing.
Obviously, number 2, it's way up there on our list of films that we.
Yeah, and I
really
wanted to
enjoy.
throw in the towel on this one when I first got almost halfway in?
Maybe before that? but-
Maybe. Yeah,
yeah.
I was like, ugh, this is boring. This is not because the movie, when you first start watching this movie, I mean, it is all of a sudden action packed.
It is. It starts out
amazing,
action right from the
crazy
beginning.
colors. Huh?
It starts out action right from the beginning.
Yeah. But then it kind of slows down, and that's where I was kind of like, where are we going with this film? But you have to go through the slow point, and you kind of have to really pay attention to the dialogue because it's setting up the rest of the scenes in the movie.
Right. Well, to give a little backstory on this, film is shot. It's written and shot in 6 chapters.
Yes.
And it's shot
Out of order.
And it's out of order. It's
Mhm.
chapters 1 through 6, but you don't go 1 through 6. You go 2 here, 4 here, 5 here. It jumps back and forth, so it's a non-linear fashion.
Mhm.
And the writer director of this is J.T. Molnar, and he wrote this. The other thing that's interesting, he wrote this in non-linear. He wrote it out of order. which is funny, which is interesting to me as well, because I would have probably written it in order and then like, okay, let's just move everything around.
Yeah, let's mix it up.
Let's, when we edit it, to make it all kind of weird. But he had to, in interviews, he's like, no, I have to write it in the way I see it. And that's the way he sees it, as out of order.
Yeah.
So this film stars Kyle Gallner, one of my favorites. He's been around for a long time, but he's really come on really strong lately. He's such a great actor. I wouldn't say character actor, because that just really puts him in a. I think he's definitely a lead actor, but he plays these really gritty characters. And then Willa Fitzgerald,
she's amazing.
She's really great as well. Ooh. Really great as well. And then this was shot. The other interesting fact about this movie is it was shot by an actor, a very famous actor that's been acting for 20, 30, I don't know, 20 something years probably at this point. Giovanni Ribisi. He's friends with JT Mulner. And then JT Mulner sent him the script, and Giovanni was like, I have to be part of this in any way possible. He's like, and then he's like, okay, what do you want to shoot it? He's like, okay, I can shoot it.
We lost the light.
Oh no, we lost the light.
Oh well.
That's okay. No red on this side. So yeah, he shot it, and that was just, it blew my mind because it was shot really well. And for one of his first times shooting something this big, I was just really impressed because he's an actor. But I mean, I guess you're in the business, you're in it, you kind of know what the shots are, and
yeah, you can see them. But yeah, this movie is definitely worth seeing all the way through. There's definitely a few pain points to get through, but it all builds and leads up into those other chapters as you go along in the film. And there's also kind of a little bit of a twist, because what you think is happening and who is playing who, you kind of learn. You're like, oh, that is
this plays
not what I thought.
Yeah, this definitely plays on gender stereotypes, and then it flips those gender stereotypes as well. So you think that you think it's going one way, but it's really somebody else has control. Yeah, that's really the whole thing. Is you're like, oh my God, they're having control, and you're like, I can't watch this. This is just really bad. And then you're like, oh, that's not who's in control of this scenario here. So
yeah,
it does really flip the gender roles on their head, which is really cool as well. Then you tell it out of order, it just adds a whole nother layer to the whole thing. Yeah, well, he plays with a lot of colors as well.
Oh, the colors are amazing.
So you get certain colors for certain things, and then certain colors for another thing, and that really adds to scenes as well.
Yeah,
it's action packed. It's a turn on your head kind of thing. Again, another small indie film, different than what you're used to and what you've seen. So that's why we're again celebrating those ones that are different. And
it's different.
Yeah, this one definitely. Please go see this.
Definitely watch this. It's out on all your streaming services now.
Yeah. We're not promoting anyone certain, but it's like whatever one you want to watch.
Go for it.
All right, and we're moving on to number one. Woo, with no light over here. Our lights are like, we're done. All right, and what is number one?
The Substance.
Wow, yes, The Substance. This one obviously came out in 2024. This is a body horror film written and directed by, again, I'm going to mess up this name, and I know she's watching over there in France. Coralie Fargay. She is French. This is kind of a French film in a way. I mean, it's American, but then again, it was filmed in France. It's a French director and writer. It stars Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley.
Oh, and Dennis Quaid.
Oh yeah, Dennis Quaid. And who was going to be originally?
Oh, Ray Liotta.
Ray Liotta was original spot, but obviously he passed away, and they gave it to Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid did an amazing job.
He did.
Demi Moore does an amazing job. Margaret Qualley does an amazing job. Demi Moore plays a character named Elizabeth Sparkle. She's a fading celebrity who, after being dismissed by her producer due to her age, resorts to a black market drug that creates a younger version of herself. Yeah, so this deals with that Hollywood aging actor, female, obviously, typically, which is unfortunate that the male actors just continue to go no matter what age they are, and then it's the female actor that ages out of everything. So it kind of it deals with that. She's very popular and very famous, but her producer
Wants younger,
better, more fit type person.
Which I'm like, have you seen Demi Moore?
Yeah. Well, yeah, she looks
amazing.
Great. She looks great at 60 something.
Yes, she does.
Does this black market drug called the substance. There's a younger version of her that appears. We'll just say appears. And this younger version can be out for 7 days. And then the original person has to come back for 7 days. And they have to flip-flap back and forth for those 7 days. And they cannot alter that at all. They have to respect
the balance.
The balance. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You have to respect the balance, which is also another interesting metaphor too, is you have to respect the balance. You can't push past, I don't know if you want to call it nature or just, you can't outsmart nature or the balance. And I think that's what they were saying. Like she was trying to say with the balance is like, you can't override the balance. You can't outsmart the balance. You can't
outrun time, basically.
You can't outrun time. You can't overdo mother. You're going to lose
to Mother Nature
if you outdo that. So this is a body horror film, as body horror films get, pretty much. Yes, I think there are some crazier body horror films out there that I've seen, but this one deals with a lot of body horror. But I think that is, although that theme gets crazier as we go into the film, I honestly believe it's more about, feminism and aging and, dealing with that. Would you say?
Yeah, I would definitely say that it has a lot to do with aging, and I think being okay in your own skin and realizing, that's, you got to accept it and come to terms with it. And, unfortunately we all get older and we all age, and
obviously I think we can all relate to that.
Yeah, we can all relate to it.
We're always trying to push back the time. So I think this one, she was trying to push back that time, and it worked against her. Yeah, this was good too because speaking of the body horror, they use a lot of practical effects. Again, practical effects work.
Yeah, they do.
I'm not a huge fan of CGI unless it's just to enhance something, but not to fully do something. I don't want to talk more about it because we have a bonus section.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. We have a bonus section that's coming up. This one obviously is coming out this Thursday on the, what day is that? The 27th? Yeah. And then a couple days later, we're going to release the bonus section. We're going to talk a little bit more about the substance. So I need you to stay tuned for that and watch for that one, because we're going to talk about that, because the substance is very important. It has a very important role in this year's awards. And we're going to talk about that coming up in the bonus section. So that is our top 10.
Yay.
Make sure you go see the substance. Please, please, please. It's out there on streaming.
Watch.
It's well worth it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Horror Comedy Hangout podcast. Please, please, please. And subscribe. We like more subscribers. We want more subscribers, right?
Yeah, I like seeing those numbers go up.
I like seeing those numbers go up.
Excited. Thank you, guys.
Please check us out on streaming, YouTube, or on any audio podcast platform. We're there, and we'll be there again, coming up again in a month. We've kind of pushed everything back. We've been a little busy, so to make sure we're getting these out on time, we've kind of pushed them back a little further. So you're getting once a month, but you're also getting a bonus section on top of that. So it's really getting it 2 times as you were originally. Yeah, it's just a little
wonky.
We're just trying to figure it out. But we really appreciate you listening and watching. It means a lot to us. We love to see everybody tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe. Like I said, check out the Horror Comedy Podcast website as well. We also have a blog on there. So if you want to read instead of watch or listen, you can do that as well. So until next time, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining. See you next
really
time.
soon.